And welcome back to Toby's Real Skills with Toby. That's me. Toby's Real Skills. Yep, that's me. Hey, in today's video we'll talk about a very specific brand. You guessed right. You saw it probably. PowerQueen. It's up here. PowerQueen. And we'll talk about a 12-volt lithium iron phosphate battery, 100 amp hour. Wait, where is it? Oh, here it is. Mini. Very important. We'll talk about a mini. We'll not only talk about one mini, we'll talk about two minis. And what we want to do with those minis, I'll show you in the video. PowerQueen was so nice and provided me those batteries. Not only one, they provided me with two batteries, which is amazing. Thanks again. And I want to show in this video not only what you can do with two batteries, because I feel like there are different scenarios out there, parallel, series, do something with one individually and do something different with the other one. There's so many options out there, at least three. And I think this is something which might be very interesting to you because it's the mini form factor here we're talking about. It's not one of the normal size batteries, where there's a lot of space inside. You saw maybe also the red audio teardown somewhere there. And it's something similar to those two. We are not tearing them down in this video, in a future video. But in this video I want to show you the use case where we will set them up and configure them that they are in parallel. So it means that we still maintain the 12 volt, but we'll have, instead of 100 amp hour, we'll have both 100 amp hours equals 200 amp hours. That's what I want to show you today. I want to explain to you what it is, what it means. And there's a second option with the series configuration. But we focus on the parallel. I'll show you in a second and describe you what it actually means. Because I want to make it as beginner friendly as possible, that you can also do it. So we are not crimping, we are not doing our wires ourselves. It's something you can always do. There are tons of videos out there, but we are focusing on a beginner friendly. Just use those batteries. They're so nice and small, and we'll put them together that they have more capacity. So first of all, let's look at the battery and what's in the box. Because usually you buy one, but I think there's even a good offer out there at the moment. Price-wise, they're pretty interesting, I feel like. So let's take a look. So what's in the box? Actually, it's just one. You only get one battery, so apologies. But besides the battery, what else is in there? It's pretty cool, I would say. It's of course a lot of packing stuff. We don't focus on that stuff, but they provide you with this little handy bag, whatever that is. They put also, of course, the service email address on it, website as well. And they do put, first of all, they put stickers in there. The stickers look pretty cool. And then we have, which side is the first? Good question. Operations guide for beginners. I think that's pretty neat that they put this in here. So they tell you what to do, notice before, operating precautions, connecting, and do's and don'ts. So that's great. Additionally to that, we do have a product manual. And this manual has the colors of PowerQueen, grayish and orange. And looks pretty familiar to another one, but it's very detailed, and that's something I really adore and like. So here, for example, we do have the dimensions. Here are the dimensions, as well as that it comes with M8 terminals. And by the way, they provide two sets of M8 terminals, so that's great. 4 bolts, lock washer, and washer, or split washer and washer. And then they have the information about the battery here. And of course, they have a bunch of other stuff in here as well. I'm going through that very quick. The parameters, they're really important in my opinion. That's good. And this one also says max continuous charge current is 100, same for discharge current. And there's a current for 5 seconds up to 250 amps. We're not doing that today. That will be in another video when we do the teardown and capacity test. Other than that, I want to focus on, here we go. I want to focus on this page, connection, series and parallel. And they describe it pretty nice and neat. And as mentioned, we'll focus on the parallel connection, which means when we have 2 or more batteries of the same voltage, 12 volt, 100 amp hour. Ideally, this should all match up, and ideally it should be the same batch or same manufacturer, same model. And then we can just connect the positive and negative and use the power out of them. And that means it increases the amp hour. In the series connection, when we connect the same batteries, it does not increase the amp hour, it does increase the voltage. And that's the main difference. And you can see that the connection here is from negative to positive. So it's a little different. And you would get the power also from those two terminals which are empty. In a parallel connection, you go. I like to go one side positive, the other one side negative. So I try to equalize them basically and use the power consistent. So that's what we're going to do. Oh, by the way, that's all. Some wrapping stuff. It came in a pretty nice and neat box. It was really safely packed and it was really nice. This is the back, this is the front. And you can see that's how they look. And I cannot say that enough. I really like this form factor. It is small, it is light, it is great. You can put them together, and that's actually the configuration we'll also choose and we'll do. You can put them together. They're slightly higher than normal, those days, normal battery, I would say, lithium iron phosphate battery. It is for sure thinner, not as wide, and also not as long. So that is really nice. In comparison, I don't have another one standing around right now, so I cannot really show that, but believe me, the dimensions are smaller. So that's why I like to use two of them instead of just one, because there are so many use cases. 100 amp hours might not be enough. Think about overlanding, think about camping, think about an RV. Oh, 100 is just not enough at all. And when you can double the power and the form factor is so small, it's just sweet. It's just really nice, and I enjoy that a lot because it gives you a lot of more room for more of those if you want to have a configuration of those batteries, obviously. There's an expo coming up. It's the Adventure Van Expo in Big Bear. So I'm planning to be there. I'm planning to be there also with a couple of suppliers from PowerQueen. In case you want to show up, hey, you're more than welcome. As much as I understand, it's free entrance, so just pop by. I think this is really, really nice time to look for other RVs, look what the installations look like, what power are they using or not, and what are the rigs really look like, and maybe, get some ideas or maybe purchase one of those. So I will be there. I hope you also will be there. PowerQueen will be there as well, so I'm looking forward to see you. I'm pretty sure I have not mentioned it. It's in October, 14th and 15th of October. See you there. Until then, we'll focus on those two batteries. By the way, they also come with those neat little caps, so you can just put them on here to protect the bolts, basically, the terminals. But for now, I don't need them. What we need, I put already the bolts in. What we need is a configuration like this. That's what I would recommend. I like it to have it as flexible and versatile as possible. What does that mean? Let me show you. So I made myself 4-gauge wires. Now you're wondering, okay, you only need this distance, right? So yes, that's correct. If you are just planning in having it fixed, standing somewhere, not moving around. So my idea of using them means also that I will carry them around, I will move them around, I will maybe put them side by side, something like this. It really depends. Maybe I will just lay them down like this. It really depends. It really depends where I'm putting them. So that's why I want to give myself a lot of flexibility. First thing we need to do, charge them up to full, both batteries. Which means, look up there, there's a charger, lithium iron phosphate charger. Charge both batteries individually up to full before we continue. I'm not doing that because they have already the same level, 13.18. 13.18, 13.19. And here we have 13.18. Okay, so charge them to full. That's the best way to ensure that they will drain and charge at the same level at the same time. Now we connect negative and positive with positive. And as mentioned, I made my wires myself. I'm using a 4-gauge wire. I will put a link in the description as well, just in case you just want to buy and test it. I'm using 4-gauge lugs here. That means we'll start with the negative side. So let me unbolt it. In terms of tools, you can decide, do you want to use a Phillips screwdriver or you want to rather use a socket? It's a 13 millimeter. There we go. Up to you. I'm using a socket. So now make sure you connect just the negative with negative first, or do the other way around, whatever you prefer. And in terms of orientation, I plan, as mentioned, to move them around a little bit. That means I want to have it sticking out, so I can give myself a little flexibility in putting it side by side. You can obviously also adjust it if needed. That's the first side, negative and negative. Now we do the same on the positive side. There's no load attached, so take off the bolts, connect it exactly this way. Please always be careful that you don't touch anything else with the terminals and whatnot, because you don't want to short anything out and destroy your gear or do other damage. Alrighty. There you go. Alright, so now we do have a battery which is in parallel. And you can see, I do have a bunch of flexibility. By the way, the shorter the better. So I'm going here, I think, in a maximum configuration. So you do not want to do more, if possible. For this 4-gauge wire, I double checked. I do not want to discharge or charge it with more of the accepted current or the recommended current going through. So in my configuration now, because I love those Anderson connectors, I really love them. I got myself one of those 175 Anderson connectors. Because you saw, they can go peak for 5 seconds up to 250 amps discharge. So this one can handle up to 175 amps, only if you have the correct wire size, of course. This is also a wire you can buy. I'll put a link in the description as well. I made it myself. You don't need to have this one on the side. You might just continue with the bare wire on both sides, like, not the bare wire, that's wrong. The wire and then having the lug. And for now, I want to connect it one side, one battery, positive, the other battery, negative. One side battery, positive, the other battery on the side, negative. So that means I would like to do it like this, ideally. So now this is where the load comes or will be connected. What you can do and what I would recommend, put a fuse in between. You can use one of those fuses here. That's the one I had handy and laying around, so I will use this one. This one goes to the terminal, this side, right? This one where the load comes in, because this is the fuse here, this plastic piece. So that means I want to put it here on top of this one. So I'll loosen up this a little bit. And yes, the bolt is long enough for that. Also, link in the description below for this one. You can use different methods. I'm using this one. I don't want to get started with all the fuse options we have here, but this is one option what I'm using here. So, and I'm using in my case, because my load is not going to be too much, it's a 90 amp fuse. There we go. And now we can connect the load. So it means my new extra wire here, and we can connect the positive side onto the fuse. Put in the washer first, then a split washer, and at the end, the nut. So there we go. That's for the load, positive. And now I'm putting on the load negative on this side, just on top of the other lug here. There we go. Good. Well, that would be it. Now we have two batteries. In my case, I can split them, can move them around, I can change orientation a little bit, and then I can plug in the load right in here. And what I'm doing now, measuring and making sure that we still have a 12-volt battery. And here we are, 13.19. There we go. That's how you parallel a battery. It's that simple. So the load, but also when you charge it, you want to go through, in my case, this Anderson connector. I think it's now pretty easy to understand. This is where the load, but also when it's charging, goes through. So that means I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I do have this little neat board. Don't freak out, you do not need this at all. And there's more wires than it's actually needed. But I just want to show you what you could possibly do. This is actually the wire which can be connected or should be connected to any battery. In this case, to this battery pack, which we just put in parallel. So that means I can now go ahead and just connect those two batteries. When I've done everything right, then we can see something here. And that is great. And apologies for this is messy, but it does exactly what I need. So it is configured for a 12-volt system, and that's why we configured those two batteries in a 12-volt configuration in parallel. This is where, here on this side, this is where everything starts. I can turn it off and on. This is where the negative comes in. We have Victron smart shunt here, and this smart shunt, this is the battery side, this is the load side. The load side goes in here on this bus bar and then spreads everything. Positive side from battery goes straight into this bus bar over here, and then it also spreads everything what's needed. And then we also have a MPPT charger, also from Victron, and this charger charges and goes back into the bus bars here, and then it can go all the way through the shunt and goes into the battery. And if I want to charge the battery, I do have multiple options. Maybe you've seen the charger I pointed out earlier. So one option is that I have another connection here, an Anderson connector, which I can connect and then charge, or I just clip it into those bus bars, positive, negative, and charge it with alligator clips. That's all. So that means, just to give you one last idea, what is the voltage we have here? 13.18, 31.1, yep, 19. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. There you have it. So it actually is that simple. It is really not complicated. You just have to understand parallel and series connections. Now we have a system with 200 amp hours here. We still have a 12-volt system, and we do use the PowerQueen Mini here. And this is such a small form factor. I can throw it in the car on back seats next to each other. That's just something, you know, before with those bigger batteries, you're not able to do that. Of course, there's still use cases for those batteries. They're still out there, tons of them. But I really think those minis are a game changer. As mentioned, the next video will be a teardown of those batteries. Or one is enough, I feel like. But will be a teardown capacity test to test everything, what those batteries are capable of, and see if they are as advertised capable. They should come with pouch cells instead of prismatic cells. And there's something which is different, lithium iron phosphate, but it is a different form factor because of pouch cells. Let me know what you think about it. What else you want to see in the capacity teardown test. Anything else I should add, let me know. Please subscribe to the channel if you want to see the capacity test and other stuff like that about battery, renewable energy, solar stuff, and also in combination with camping and overlanding. Thanks for watching. Cheers!